How are you doing, guys? Zara here. So today I wanted to talk about regarding of the issues with the Game Awards. And since you guys may already know, the Game Awards will be happening in December 12th this year. And obviously to that point there will also going to be some kind of deadline. So this means quite a few games, if not maybe at least one game, it's not going to be able to make it to being as a candidate or a nominee. And as such, one of these games is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Few of you guys have actually said it as well that Jedi Fallen Order is your Game of the Year game, but it didn't even get a pick at all because of the dumb deadline. And as such, this is why the Game Awards should have not been in December, but instead could have been in January, or hell, even February would have been better. Delayed by a month or two, I think it would have been the best choice. So there will be no issues with these deadlines, so we don't have to go through it. And we actually seen this already happening once. In 2018 of the Game Awards, again it happened in December, one game particularly came out. It was a very newest Smash game. And that game is actually ended up being a Game of the Year this time around, even though it came out in December of 2018. But these nominees should have been Game of the Year of 2019. My apologies. So Smash should not be in this list at all because number one, it did not come out on the right year, but also because it's completely the fault of the Game Awards since their dumb deadlines and because when this time around they present their shows in December, the beginning of December, mind you. So that's a problem. But now another issue, Jedi Fallen Order and as such came out in 2019. And if you consider this one factor, guys, in 2019 a lot of the games were not up to the a masterpiece games, not to be fantastic games out of this world leagues, right? Death Stranding, a lot of people considered it to be very divisive. I personally really liked it, and goes for the similar thing with Days Gone. A lot of expectations were, unfortunate, underwhelming to some people. I liked it though the game. There a lot of games this year that came out were very divisive. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice could have been definitely a game. Well, I personally think it should be a Game of the Year, if not maybe Death Stranding as well. I don't know. Just my opinion. Sekiro is also a divisive game. It's considered to be a very hard game. It's not for everybody. And so there's going to be people not supporting it, but there are going to be others that will support it. I'm one of those. I will support the game. But that's the thing. You see, these games, they're not considered to be for everybody. And there's so many of these games like that came out. Resident Evil 2 as a remake, over there, it just, people consider it as a remake. It should not be considered a proper game. There's always going to be these misunderstandings on some front, people arguments and as such, and disagreements. And that's the problem in here, right? I personally think so. But instead, Devil May Cry never got its nominee for the Game of the Year. Devil May Cry 5, that's insane. That came out this year in 2019. And Control, though, got its fair share, even though Devil May Cry all around was a better reviewed game than Control. So it's I don't know, it makes no sense with these Game Awards nominees that they actually chose. It makes no sense. And as you might have already seen, there's only 6 nominees. Only 6 of these games, one is capable of winning out of 6. So obviously there's not going to be enough room to put in a 7th or the 8th game. And if that's the case, I think they should just, increase the size, maybe go to 7 to 8 games for a chance to be win the getting a Game of the Year. Now even the Smash is in here as well, but that game is old. It came out in 2018 in December, so it shouldn't be this year a winner of the Game of the Year in 2019. It would not make sense. Okay, well, and now if we do consider Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was considered to be a very good game, people loved it, I would not be surprised if we would see in the Game Awards in 2020. And if that's the case, I actually think it will never get that candidate. Why? There are so many games coming out in 2020, similar degree to the 2018, because 2018 was a fantastic year for games. Seriously, 2019 was kind of subpar, believe it or not. 2018 was a great year. God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, and as such. Right on top of my head, these games were simply phenomenal. No game out there in 2019 came out were in a similar degree to these games as Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War in 2019. I'm talking about. A lot of people may consider it differently though, because this is my opinion. I'm pushing in here, by the way, guys. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, why it's not going to be a candidate? Let me explain. 2020 is going to be so many games, it's insane. And 6 of these games can only be a candidate. Let me give you a bit of a quick list. Final Fantasy VII Remake, because we already know remakes can be candidates. Look at the Resident Evil 2. Watch Dogs Legion, maybe not, like a lot of people will predict. Vampire, the Bloodlines 2. People say it's a niche title of a game, maybe not getting an appearance. Sure, that's understandable. The Last of Us Part 2, you'd be crazy to think that it would not make it to the being as a candidate. That's already guaranteed. Cyberpunk 2077, I actually think that game will win the Game of the Year of 2020. Ghost of Tsushima, that's another candidate, just like that. 3 already, simply. Hell, at this point might be even 4 because I'm also counting Final Fantasy VII Remake. Marvel's Avengers, that depends. That really does depend. It can be an extremely fantastic game or it could be just like a niche of a game. That also could be a candidate. Dying Light 2, maybe, it's very possible. Halo Infinite, I believe it will be a candidate as well. Why the hell not? It's very, very possible. That's already 4 to 5, maybe even 6 at this point. Dragon Age 4, well, that's not exactly confirmed, and still a lot of people would not believe that. Beyond Good and Evil 2 maybe could come out. That's a speculation part. Elden Ring. Now that could be a candidate. Look at Sekiro. It made it, didn't it? Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, so why the hell Elden Ring could not? Doom Eternal, that is also very possible. Look, it's more than 6 games. And one more I'm missing. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. That's a sequel. Do you have any idea how many of these games are not going to be extremely fair to the point of getting the candidates? There's just no way in hell that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is going to be Game of the Year next time around. I don't even think it's going to be a candidate at all. It's let alone winning the Game of the Year. Now, sure, let's think about the other categories, right? Let's talk about maybe the nominee of the best gameplay. I don't know, just out of the top of my head, narrative. Well, narrative, I don't really. That's the problem. All these games I've mentioned, they do so much better than ever than compared to the Star Wars. Gameplay-wise, Elden Ring will get the win, that's for sure. Story, well, Cyberpunk, The Last of Us Part 2, they're all gonna get the wins, like for sure. The creative vision, Cyberpunk, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2, look, these games are simply outstanding in their own rights. And this is just not going to be exactly great. This is the biggest problem why the Game Awards faces, and it needs to get delayed. These shows never should be coming in December or earlier than that. It should be coming in January, and the earliest. At the latest, it should be February. And I think it might have been a better option, better choice. I don't know. This is just my opinion, guys. I understand a lot of you may not agree with me. A couple of games I mentioned here might actually trigger you because, the way I talked a little bit about them. And 2020 is going to be an extremely insane year. It's going to be the heaviest games, the best games that people predict. And that will be 2020, even bigger than 2018. And 2018 was no pushover. 2018 of games were simply phenomenal. 2019, that was a little bit, just a tiny bit of a disappointment, just a little bit. But 2020, it's going to be knocking the hell out of other games for sure, easily. And that's just not going to be fair. Why I'm talking about this, guys, is just because I personally think that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order should have been a candidate. I think it should have been replaced from Control. I think that Devil May Cry should have been replaced by Control as well. I think they need to go with more games, not 6. Go to 7 to 8. Now, don't go overkill with 10, like that might be overkill because, I think 8 is just enough, and that I actually think as well. They need to be improvising a little bit. If they think there's not enough games, sure, go to 5 then. But if there's too many games like 2020, it seems like maybe crazy amount of games. Go to 8. 8 candidates would make more sense. In some ways, it might not be considered to be exactly fair, but still, there's so many games. I personally believe there need to be some kind of candidates. And thankfully there are still different categories that they can win the trophies and stuff like that. But still, Game of the Year, that's what I'm talking about in this country anyway. Alright, well then, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell me down in the comments what do you think as well about this stupid case that Game Awards faces of such an early show that they're presenting and never getting opportunities for the other games to get an appearance. Alright, well, again, thank you. See you guys all later, and yeah, have a good one.